Welcome to Hancock's VMware Half Hour. And welcome back to another Hancock's VMware Half Hour. Okay, so in today's video, we are going to do a little bit of VMware. So those of you that are members of the channel that signed up to watch VMware things, then today we're going to do a VMware thing. And we're going to go back to a product that I've used a lot, and I think I probably created more videos and written more articles about this particular product than any other. And still today, in 2025, many years after it was first unleashed onto the planet, people are still using it today. People are still struggling with it today. I always thought that there would be a time when we didn't have to use this because the world would be fully virtual. And because it was fully virtual, we wouldn't be doing this anymore. But I suppose now in these dark times, when we're migrating away from VMware vSphere, or we're migrating to VMware vSphere, maybe it's back in fashion. And what I'm talking about is good old-fashioned VMware vCenter Converter Standalone, to give it its official title on its birth certificate. But a lot of us actually basically refer to it as VMware Converter, which can convert physical machines. It can convert Windows machines. It can convert virtual machines. So you can do P2Vs, V2Vs. And as I said, I've written a lot about this particular product and created a lot of videos. So you're probably asking yourself, well, why is he doing another one today? Well, I'm doing another one today because in the last couple of weeks, and I think really to probably align everything at Broadcom with version 9, we've now seen a release of a VMware vCenter Converter Standalone, to give it its official title. Version 9.00 build 2490837 has dropped. And it's quite interesting, this version, because we get some new features. So the features in it now probably actually match the features that have been available in it for Windows. But I'm not going to give that secret away in this video. I'll do that in the next video. In this video, I'm going to take... I normally do conversions of Windows. But I thought it was about time to also demonstrate really, and with additional support now available in VMware vCenter Converter Standalone. It's a mouthful, that. vCenter Converter, or VMware Converter. Now we've actually basically got some new supported operating systems, and those are Linux. So in today's video, I'm going to demonstrate to you how simple it is to convert a powered on Linux virtual machine. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now I'm going to do that so that you can actually basically see the screen a little bit better. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to click Convert Machine. I'm going to select powered on remote Linux machine. Like normally we'd probably be over here in powered off VMware infrastructure virtual machine, but here I'm going to do powered on remote Windows machine. Now this happens to be a virtual machine. It's a virtual machine that sits here. Hang on, just let me turn that off. Turn that off. Okay, so this is a virtual machine currently called Nightscout_restored. It's called _restored because a while ago I had to restore it with Veeam, and I've never bothered to remove the underscore restored. So it's a Ubuntu Linux 64-bit machine. It's called Night Scout. It has a FQDN. It's 2 CPUs, 8 gig, and it's 90 gig. And in fact, actually, it's a Linux Docker container. It actually runs the Night Scout product, which effectively interfaces with continuous glucose monitoring systems, such as the Libra system by Abbott, and also Dexcom. I actually basically use it on my, I'm not quite sure whether or not you can see that graph there. Is that an email? Oh, that's just basically somebody from LinkedIn, so that's not, oops, gone off. Yeah, let's just see if I can find the app. Yeah, so you get continuous blood monitoring. Yeah, my blood sugar level's high because I've just had food. Anyway, so that's what Night Scout does. Okay, so let's just go back to our converter. So I need to be there. And I'll have to be a little bit careful here, because before, when I was doing conversions, I didn't actually realize that the conversion wizard actually spawns a different ESXi. So I wasn't capturing it. Anyway, so you should be able to see that nice and big, nice and large. Okay, so a remote Windows machine. We don't want to do remote Windows. We're doing a remote Linux, only because remote Linux machines tend to be a little bit more tricky. Windows machines are fairly easy to P2V, V2V. Linux machines can be a little bit more difficult. So this is why today I actually basically wanted to experiment and demo with a Linux virtual machine. So anyway, IP address or name, you know what I think about IP addresses. So we are using an FQDN. So you need to have a user on the Linux machine that first of all can sudo, but also can sudo without a password. So therefore you need to edit. If you're not familiar with that, drop me a note in the description and I can tell you how to do that. But basically, if you just open VI sudo on Ubuntu and basically just add a line in there for a particular user, then you can sudo without a password. Or you could use a private key with a passphrase. So I'm just going to specify my password, followed by next. And I'm going to be a little bit careful here. I'm just watching two screens. Okay, so here's our server, ESXi 052. Yes, we do have a few ESXi servers here in the lab. We're working on a big project at the moment with a cluster of 64. So we've got 64 ESXi servers currently here in the lab that we're experimenting in. So I actually basically chose ESXi 052 and I thought I'd use ESXi 052 because it's actually really in memory of brother 52. You'll have to Google that. It's long, but anyway, so ESXi 052 after brother 52, followed by its username and password. So that would be root. Of course, you can use VMware vCenter server, so that could be a VMware vCenter server FQDN, followed by next. So I'm going to call this Night Scout. The source of the machine has already been detected. It says it's Ubuntu 22.04. It's running on the destination is Night Scout on ESXi 052, which is ESXi 8.03, and of course VMware Converter 9 is also compatible with the ESXi 9 as well. But you probably won't, you'll probably find that if you try to use VMware Converter on an older ESXi server like 6.7, 7, 5, 5.5, etc., 6, you may actually basically find that it can't connect and it says it's not supported. Anyway, as you can see, we've already got one VM running on here, test VM. So I'm just basically going to click next. I'm going to select the data store, NFS data store. I'm going to select version 21, followed by next. I'm not going to make any changes. Although what I'm probably going to do, no, I'm not going to do any changes. I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to leave everything as is, because one of the things I have found with VMware Converter, a bit of a top tip here, the less settings that you change, the better conversion that you get. So if you don't change anything, there's a good chance that your conversion is going to work 100%. So I'm going to click next. Now, when I click finish, I'm going to have to basically drop back to the other Windows capture. So I'm going to click finish, and that's now going to appear and submit the job. So just let me drop out of this conversion window, and there you can see the job is running. So if I just double click that, so okay. Okay, let's just explain what we've got here. So we're converting a physical machine to virtual. It happens to be a virtual machine we're converting, but VMware Converter doesn't really know whether it's a physical machine or whether it's a virtual machine, really. So that's when the job was created. The status is currently running. Started, running time, estimated time completion, can be cancelled, yes. And then over on the log highlights, you can see what's actually basically happening here. Now, VMware Converter does something very interesting when it's actually basically doing Linux conversions. What it actually basically does is it uploads an ISO to, it creates a virtual machine on the destination. It uploads ISO, a helper ISO, powers on that helper ISO, and that helper ISO is the appliance, if you like, or helper image or helper VM, guest helper VM. We've seen this in the likes of OpenText Migrate. They use helper VMs a lot. So that helper VM sits on your destination, on your ESXi server, and basically it streams the data onto that VM in real time, as it's actually basically being captured. So if we actually basically were to go to, if I just, so I'm just going to toggle off. Okay, so that's our ESXi host. That's ESXi 052, and as you can see that there is a VM there already called Night Scout, which is actually powered up. That is our helper VM, which is currently being powered up, which is waiting to receive the data from this conversion process. So let's just turn that back on. So as you can see there now, if I just highlight there, you can actually basically see that it's interesting here because it's actually saying connecting the converter helper ISO image to the destination. It's done that 4 times. So I'm wondering whether or not that it's actually struggling here now. It does say 3%. It's powering on. It may possibly be that it's just not come up yet on the network. Because what you'll actually basically find is at the moment that it actually basically establishes connection. No, there we go. So it's actually basically connected to the machine now. You can actually basically see that it's starting to clone the volume mounted on boot from our source. It's starting to clone the volume mounted on root from Night Scout as well now. And I've often said that conversions of us normally fail within 1 to 3% if they're going to fail. They normally fail at 1 to 3% or 94% and above. If something fails in between 4% and 94%ish, it's generally that your network is unstable, or it's come across a disk issue in actually basically doing the conversion. If it's actually failing at the beginning, then there's definitely a network issue or something wrong with the parameters that you specified. And at the very end, after 94%, if it's failing to convert, That's generally because it cannot manipulate the files on the destination virtual machine. So there's just a little bit of fill-in for you there if you actually basically struggle. As I actually have said in the past, and I wrote about it, that P2Vs and V2Vs really, I think are 50% technical, 25% experience, and 25% luck, or something like that. Because you can do exactly the same thing day in, day out, and then you basically can do another virtual machine, and you'll start to find that you're plagued with problems and you're not doing it any differently. The other thing I've also found as well is it's worth actually basically having copies. All these different versions of VMware Converter. We've got them all here since the beginning of time, only because we tend to find that the occasional little buglet basically drops into different versions. So you can use different versions and you'll get different error messages, or you will get different failure rates. Okay, so that says its estimated time remaining is 10 minutes. I don't think it's anything like that. I think we'll be quite quick. I think this is only about 16 gig, to be honest with you. This particular virtual machine, it's not very big at all. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just put the microphone on pause a minute, and I'm just going to take a sip. Got a bit of a croaky voice this morning. I don't know why. Maybe it's the beginning of the week. Okay, so that's changed already now. That's jumping all over the place. I think originally it turned around and said it was going to take an hour and a half. Like all estimated time dialogues, as they sort of kind of get going, they become a little more accurate in their completion times. Okay, so we're actually finished the clone at this point now, and we're at 98%, and we're now sort of kind of waiting for the manipulation to finish, and tell us that it's completed at 100%. So I'll just pause the mic, and you can watch that complete, and maybe I will speed this up in post. There we go. Done. So if I just turn off that conversion window, just minimize that. And there is our freshly converted Night Scout virtual machine. Tell you what to do. We'll power it up. It's going to do edit settings. Just going to turn off the network interface. One interesting thing here is that it's actually basically given a RAM of 7.78, which is rubbish, because VMware vSphere doesn't like values like that. So we'll just round that up to 8. And if you actually look back at the video, you'll see that we specify 7. So I think it's actually basically really actually looking inside the guest OS at how much memory is available. So that's why you've got these very strange sort of kind of hard disks, 3.05 gig and 43.48. Anyway, so I'm going to turn off the network, only because if I power this up now, the other Night Scout is on and will cause chaos. So I'm just going to click power on. This is a UEFI boot, UEFI secure boot. So it's not legacy MBR. So a little bit more complicated to convert, but there you go. You can see quite easily that we've used VMware vCenter Converter Standalone version 9, its official title, or VMware Converter, to convert Linux Ubuntu 2204 virtual machine from one ESX server to another ESXi server. I've got something special to reveal about ESXi 052, Brother 52, but we'll come to that in our next video. Anyway, so thanks very much for watching me this afternoon at lunchtime on a lovely sunny day here in North Yorkshire. It's 12:52. It's time really for me to get a nose bag and come back for the next video when we're going to revisit VMware vCenter Converter Standalone version 9, and we're going to look at one of the new features that's now available for us in 9, free of charge, that, as I said, is one of the spanking new features, and that's what we're going to look at in the next video. Those of you that are sort of kind of come here expecting me to talk about the Intel NUC 11 Extreme, that's still ticking away in the background here. We'll come back to that. Got another video, I think, did we do? Yeah, did another video that's basically in edit at the moment. We need to get up on the tube there for you to have a little look at. So we've not forgotten about that one. We're just trying to juggle lots of parallel streams here at the moment. Anyway, so thanks so much for watching, and be well, and stay alive, and be kind, and work hard. Goodbye now.